Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone...
Sorcerer's Stone?
Back in the good old days, when all that existed was Lord of the Rings and Shrek, I could just end the video right there. The Harry Potter franchise was also a big thing, and it was a huge part of my life. The first book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, was actually the first book I ever read. I even have proof that I didn't know how to read properly. See that? I didn't know how I would find where I was on the page, so I drew a line. It's literally a bookmark. It could be a stroke of genius, if it wasn't so stupid. Not only was Harry Potter the subject of my first book, but our first video game console, the PlayStation 1, came with a copy of it, the game of it. I broke the front of the cover, but I still have it. There it is, the original, the PlayStation 1 version. There's a PC version they made. I haven't tried that, don't know whether it's better. But here's what I'm gonna be showing. I don't know what to say about it. It's got round edges. Exactly one. It has moments of genuine terror and suspense. Hogwarts feels so huge, labyrinthian, and feels epic to explore. The music is music to my ears. And the graphics, while obviously dated, have a wonderful charm to them that just makes appropriate and elaborately descriptive words come right out of my thesaurus. Just like that. I'd honestly say it's my favourite PlayStation 1 game of all time.
Time for a lesson, Potter. Let me teach you about wizard crackers.
Okay, maybe not. Wizard crackers? What? Crab and Goyle and Super Wizard Crackers?
Super Wizard Crackers.
Super Wizard Crackers. Why are you even doing this? You want Harry to not leave the building? To what end? Where did you buy all these crackers? Did you stockpile for this event? You have wands. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, that's what wizards have. Magic wands for magical spells. You could use those, maybe? Yeah, this game is dumber than I remember. It's definitely a fun and very atmospheric game, but when it comes to literally any moment when the characters are speaking, well, let's just say no to that. What doesn't help is that Harry himself doesn't say anything to anyone at any time, making a lot of the exchanges more awkward than they needed to be.
Hi, Harry. Have you met Hermione yet? She's a real know-it-all, and a teacher's pet. No, I am not. Hello, Harry. Charms class is about to start. Isn't it exciting? She's rather annoying, isn't she?
Are you just gonna stand there and listen, Harry? You don't got nothing to say to add to this? Ron just insulted her openly before you had the time to form even a first impression. And then there's a long, awkward pause in which I'm sure she was expecting you to say, hello, at the very least. How's this girl become one of your best friends? Makes sense in the books, makes sense in the movies. If you play the game, it doesn't. All that silliness aside, it's still a rather good 3D platformer. The main gameplay consists of walking around, finding platforms to jump off, like in Ocarina of Time, and using spells to defeat enemies and remove obstacles in your path. For spells, you got your basic knockback, jinx, flipendo. It's your primary attack spell, and by primary I mean your only one. That's how you attack things. You start the game with this. All the other spells are learned in lessons, which you go to, because you're a wizard at a school. You can only cast these other spells when you come across an area or an item where it's supposed to be used, which is indicated by a twinkle in the appropriate colour. The yellow twinkles are for Wingardium Leviosa. You probably recognise that one. Swish and flick, right? You learn the spell in Charms class by pressing the buttons in order and in time. It's basically just Simon Says.
Get ready.
Am I doing it?
That was good.
Oh, I'm doing it.
Excellent.
Yeah, magic.
Oh dear. Excellent.
Oh, you're too kind.
Perfect.
Well, guess I'm a wizard now. The other lessons are just the same thing, but they get gradually more difficult. To the point of absurdity, really. How could anybody feasibly remember this shit? Here are your tests. children. You have 45 minutes to complete the exam. No cheating, etc. Yeah. In-game though, if you see a twinkly and press X, he automatically casts the appropriate spell, so you don't need to remember any of that nonsense. Wingardium Leviosa moves shit up and down. It probably already knew. The green twinklies are for Incendio, which is used for burning plants. The blue twinklies are for Verdimillious, which illuminates invisible platforms and makes them tangible so you can jump on them. The red twinklies are for Avifors, which is the transfiguration spell. You use it to turn these stone eagle owls into tiny real birds that fly away, thus allowing the floating table to carry you up to higher places. Alright, that one's a little weird. Could I not just Wingardium Leviosa that statue off the table? Why do I gotta create life? Well, that's it for spells. They're pretty cool, but they act more as overglorified keys than puzzle-solving mechanics. You never need to think about what spell to use because the twinkles are always there to tell you, and you couldn't cast the wrong spell even if you wanted to. The meat of the gameplay is in the platforming though, and there's plenty of variety. Some surfaces are super slippy slidey. There's flying tables, enchanted laughing books, and blocks that you have to zap into position with Flipendo. There's moving cauldrons floating over a slime lake that apparently exists. Some parts you gotta use the invisibility cloak to sneak past Mr. Filch and Mrs. Norris. And then there's these air vents that push you up, but sometimes the air vents aren't powerful enough, so you gotta plug another air vent in the area with like a beanbag, purple farting tentacle-faced speaker. What the fuck is this? There's a river of lava, also, just sorta outside. Now I may be a muggle, but I'm pretty sure that an exposed river of lava is probably dangerous to wizards. Hey, Hagrid, you're the groundskeeper, maybe you could put a sign out there saying, "Don't go here, you'll die"? Lava? You'd probably just write lava. It'll get the message across. Oh wait, he actually asks for you to go there. You gotta go jumping down the river of lava to get magic fire seeds and bring them back so that Hagrid can hatch his illegal dragon egg. Come on man, that's just irresponsible. You won't be the boy who lived for very much longer if you keep pulling this shit. There does seem to be a lot of life-risking shit in this game. Voldemort isn't really even a direct threat at all until the last boss fight. Most of the time it's just random magical shit in the school that really should have been taken care of by now. Things such as the giant poisonous snails roaming the corridors, the highly aggressive bouncing bulbs that try to flatten you, and then we have the animated suits of armor. Some of them do nothing but swing their axe indiscriminately in front of them, which honestly would probably kill most 12-year-olds in one blow. But then there are the ones that walk. They just stand there facing you, wherever you are, and as soon as you touch the floor, BAM! They's coming. Or they's coming to kill. It's deadly. It's not safe. This left such an impression on me as a kid. I actually invented a game with my brothers around it, where one of us would be the knight, and the others had to not touch the floor and try and get round him. It was just very fun. I'm not doing this right now, okay? I'm filming a video! Fuck you! Asshole! One aspect of this game that I really like is the Bertie Bott's every flavour beans that you can collect. There are 4 flavours and you find the beans sequentially throughout the game. At the beginning there are the yellow beans around the halls of Hogwarts, outside in the grounds there are the blue beans, then in the dungeons you'll find the green beans, and finally in the last portion of the game you find the red ones in all the other Hogwarts places that you couldn't access earlier, and the Dark Forest. Now they could have just left it at that, honestly. The beans have a satisfying sound when you collect them, so they're fun to get for their own sake. But if you get enough of them, Fred and George will give you a password for a painting that houses a nifty thingy. They're not at all essential for completing the game, but hell do they look cool. The first portrait has a Nimbus 2000 in it, and from that point on, whenever you're on a broom, you're the best guy. because you have a blue trail as opposed to nothing. It's not even faster than the regular broom as far as I can tell, you just get a blue goddamn trail. The second reward is kinda lame though, it's a famous witches and wizards card, one of many you can collect throughout the game in secret areas. The third is also kinda lame, but it's pretty helpful if you like the Quidditch. It's a set of Quidditch armor that protects you from bludgers during a Quidditch match. And finally, there's the Super Flipendo Knockback Jinx. It makes your primary attack spell more powerful. I don't know how much more, but who cares? Because it makes it go red. Ooh, fuck! Red though. So you can tell these rewards are pretty unimportant, and while the pretty colours may give you a rush of excitement, they soon become whatever. The real cool thing about the beans is that they encourage exploration. You gotta open every door and check every corridor, because there could be beans there. But what I love even more than all that, is how they teach you the importance of exploring constantly. At the start of the game, you run around, you find Fred and George, and they tell you about the beans, and then you start collecting them. Then you get to Malfoy and the Wizard Crackers, after which you go outside, to the grounds. Very soon you realise that the grounds don't have the yellow beans anymore. They have different ones, and by this point, if playing for the first time, you most likely hadn't collected all of the yellow beans to get the first special reward. Oh fuck, you say. I missed out on the yellow bean prize, you say. So you go back in through the front door of the castle, and you try all the doors that you previously looked over. And when you get enough of the beans, you go back to Fred and George, and then you get the password, and then you get the painting, and you get the thing, and it's oh yeah. So now in this new area, you want to be extra careful and collect every blue bean you see, making damn sure you get the reward before you go anywhere especially new, which means combing the landscape and exploring every nook and cranny. And through thorough exploration, you may happen upon one of the many secret areas hidden in plain sight behind some specific walls, which either leads to one of the many mini-games that you can do to earn famous witches and wizards cards, or just more beans. And upon learning that there are secret areas in the grounds, you're now on the look for more secret areas in other parts of the game. Great! I love the coherency of the world too. They took the time to make the castle feel like a big old place that interconnects and loops back around on itself. The coolest instance of this is early on in the game when you see a guy looking down a drain. You hear meows and he says his cat fell down there. And he says that if you could find the bottom of the well, you might find her. Now naturally you try your Wingardium Leviosa spell that you learned earlier, but you can't seem to do anything to get the cat out. And even if you search the grounds, you can't find an entrance to the well. So you just move on and forget about it. But after you move on and go to the dungeon, you come across a maze, and lo and behold, there's the same guy. You look up, there he is, in the light, and he remembers you from before and asks again for you to find his cat. And now you can find his cat. It took me by surprise as a kid. They introduced a guy with a problem, and they didn't give you the opportunity to help him until way later in the game. But when the time does come, it's magical. Of course you can just ignore him and continue on. He gives you a famous witches and wizards card as a reward, but if you don't care about that, you can just waltz on by and goodbye. Did I miss anything? There's a Quidditch. You fly through hoops and you catch a gold ball. There's house points for being a good boy. Peeves is annoying. There's a Voldemort. He's a frightening. Wizard's chess is not actually chess, but regardless is a really cool puzzle. Getting money from Gringotts induces headaches, vomiting, and death 100% of the time. There's this asshole. And then there's this asshole. Fuck. There's enough wax on the floor, dude. I can't get around. It's like zero friction. Friction on my feet. I'm sliding all over the dang place. You could stop waxing now. I guess I can talk about the textures. They're old. Oh my god, the pixels are visible. It's almost as if Hogwarts isn't real. But at least they're colourful. The trees are green, the sky is blue. It's beautiful, and so are you, dear Prudence. Won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence. Won't you come out to play? Subscribe! Twitter and a Facebook. You can follow those. But I don't use them. But, like the video. It's the little thumb. Stick it right up in there. That's it, in there. And woo! I've also got a Patreon. If, you know, the very idea doesn't make you rich, you can support me on a per-month basis. And now,